A spaceship drifting in the cosmic void is filled with an astronaut's voice. He is comforting a woman on Earth and promises to return soon. He lists the things he will miss on his journey, most notably his little sister, a blue-eyed artist who will grow up without him and undoubtedly achieve great success. Meanwhile, on Earth, in a small, nameless village in the French countryside, his sister Elsa pauses to paint a large green letter F on a black astronaut statue prominently displayed at the village entrance. Elsa works as a nurse at a local retirement home and keeps a sketchbook nearby to record everything that interests her. On this day, she is reporting to her colleagues about a patient's condition when a friend and coworker mocks her for using an awkward phrase. Elsa starts explaining what she meant with a drawing. Her boss chastises her, but Elsa does not stop. The workday has finally come to an end. Elsa returns home, where she learns that her supervisor is also her mother. Elsa greets Vincent, her younger brother, and rushes to her father's office in the basement. They exchange information, but as usual, there is nothing new to report. Her father asks Elsa to stop painting on Frank's monument, citing vandalism. He adds that the village mayor has repeatedly asked him to control his disobedient daughter. Elsa, on the other hand, becomes enraged, blaming her brother Frank for his mysterious disappearance 3 years prior. Later that evening, Elsa tells her younger brother about their interactions with Frank. They used to talk a lot and imagine a massive spaceship coming to pick them up, saying goodbye to their parents before embarking on comedic adventures far away from home. Vincent, unlike Elsa, has little memory of Frank and is captivated by her stories. Their conversation is cut short by their mother's voice, reminding them that it is time for Vincent to return home. Before they leave, Elsa suggests they take one last look at the stars, lamenting that a streetlight makes it impossible to see them clearly. Vincent proposes smashing the light. While he is working on this, Elsa hears Frank's voice. She jumps up, unsure where it is coming from. Just as Vincent turns off the streetlight, the two siblings freeze in awe of the starry sky. Elsa returns to her retirement home routine the following day. She takes care in her duties, cleaning, bathing, and dressing an elderly woman who expresses gratitude and calls her beautiful. The woman shares the recipe for her favorite dish, which she recalls vividly, but when her husband, Mr. Lebanon, pays her a visit later, she does not recognize him. Elsa's friend announces that she and her brother are moving to another city, which upsets her deeply. Elsa kindly offers to drive Mrs. Lebanon home. That evening, Elsa goes to a youth club. Even while dancing and having fun, she continues to sketch during breaks. On her way home that night, she sees a large dog standing in the middle of the road. It looks at her car as if waiting for her. Elsa gets out and follows the dog into an alleyway where she discovers a woman lying on the ground. Elsa checks for signs of life and discovers that the woman is alive, but drunk and most likely homeless because she appears to sleep here frequently. Elsa returns to her car, agitated and unwilling to return home. Instead, she drives to the hill where she and Vincent had seen the stars. She is unable to stop thinking about Frank's voice. Sitting in the same place, she hears it again. This time, the voice does not fade out. Frank expresses his pleasure in hearing her. Elsa inquires as to his whereabouts, to which Frank responds that his spaceship has veered off course. He is now surrounded by darkness and emptiness, with no remaining crew members. The voice she hears is coming from the mysterious beings that surround him. They're everywhere, including his mind. Frank is afraid he is going to die. The beings informed him that there is a way for him to return, but only Elsa can make it happen. To start, she must locate a seed that will allow them to communicate. It's nearby, right under her feet. Elsa searches and discovers a transparent capsule with a stem that resembles a strange seed among the stones. She places it in her ear. Frank's voice is immediately clear and loud. He admits that he misses her, and Elsa informs him about the statue erected in his honor. Elsa awakens it at home the next morning, her ear dripping with liquid. Panicked, she rushes to the bathroom to remove the seed, but it appears to have taken hold. She takes out a long white fiber strand, and as she tries to tear it, she hears a voice tell her to stop. Elsa pulls more of the strand, believing she has imagined it, and prepares to cut it with scissors. The voice repeats the command before punishing her with a painful sound wave to her eardrums. Elsa collapses on the floor, calling out to Frank. However, a voice informs her that he is currently inactive. Due to low oxygen levels, the beings induce sleep in him. They're all around him, and now in her head. Elsa begs them to leave her, but they insist that they need her as much as she does. They promise to bring her brother back if she meets their demands. Their main rule was that she should not tell anyone about them. At that point, Vincent walks into the bathroom and notices Elsa is ill. She lies to him, dismissing his concerns, and then sends him away. The voice instructs Elsa to follow a path that only they can see. In exchange, they promise to bring Frank back. They explain that they require 5 bodies, and Elsa has 3 days to locate and bring them there. Because the beings do not reproduce, humans do not have to be concerned about a widespread invasion. They are invisible, so no one will ever know they exist. Following the voice's commands, Elsa drives to a location in the forest and begins walking along a path visible only to the beings. To make sure she can find it again, she paints the path. Elsa obediently follows every instruction, but the beings inquire, "What is a hostage?" Elsa realizes that the creatures can read her thoughts. She calmly explains the definition of the word. The beings try to apply the term to the current situation, attempting to figure out who the villain is. Elsa, tired of their philosophical musings, requests that the voice remain silent. Suddenly, the voice commands her to stop, explaining that she must walk straight ahead because she has deviated from the path. Elsa claims that a tree grows at that location, but the voice insists that the path must be exact. Elsa inspects the tree as the beings explain that her brother is right behind it. Elsa returns to town and visits Augustine, an acquaintance who works in a woodworking shop. He explains that the tree must be properly documented before it is cut down. Elsa begs him, insisting that it is just a tree. Augustine refers her to his senior colleague Jordan, who has the authority to make the decision. Elsa eventually persuades the men to help her. They pick up a saw and follow her into the forest. When they arrive, Jordan wonders why they have to cut down this particular tree. Elsa claims it's part of a bet and offers him money, but Jordan declines and begins the work. When the hut is nearly done, he asks Elsa to finish it. She takes the saw, and Jordan assists her, demonstrating his romantic interest. The tree eventually falls. Elsa requests that the men leave, but Augustine has already returned to the truck. Jordan begins making advances on Elsa, but she pushes him away. He tries to force himself on her, and Elsa reaches for the saw that is nearby. At this point, Augustine reappears, shouting at Jordan. Elsa directs the saw at Jordan's groin amidst the chaos. Elsa crawls down the newly revealed path, looking back to see no one behind her. She returns to the scene and discovers Augustine's cap. He emerges from the forest just a moment later. The voice informs her that the exchange was successful and no one will notice. However, the second body was unsuitable and has vanished forever. There are 4 bodies remaining. Elsa requests to see her brother. When she insists, the voice uses a sound wave to cause her pain. They remind her that they already have Augustine and could take her as well if she resists. Suddenly, Elsa finds herself walking the corridors of a desolate spaceship. She notices her brother, Frank, asleep. She touches his face and beard. It's as if she's been transported into a comic book she created as a child. Frank's voice reminds her of the comic and how she forbid him from reading it. However, he secretly submitted it to a youth competition, which was rejected. Now he asks how her artistic endeavors are going, saying he will be proud of her when he gets back. When time runs out, Elsa returns to reality. She and Augustine return to town. Though Elsa doesn't understand why she has to make the decision, she asks Augustine to inform Jordan that he has left and will not return. She also insists that he smile constantly in order to maintain his Augustine disguise. Later, the voice informs Elsa that there are only 3 days left. The transition cannot last any longer. Elsa's mother treats the scratches she received in the forest, while Elsa searches the storeroom for Frank's clothes. Vincent tells her that Frank will never return. He is curious as to why Elsa draws people. She doesn't respond, instead asking him who he would sacrifice to bring Frank back. The boy thinks about it and decides that it should be terminally ill people or those who have no life left to live. The next day, Elsa plans a trip to the forest for the elderly people in her care. She divides them into 3 groups and leads them down her path, explaining that the walk is good for their health. The elderly grumble, but they still follow her. The voice assures Elsa that they will not feel pain or notice anything. However, after 2 of them have passed through the tree, the last elder stumbles and falls. Elsa rushes to him, and the other group members arrive, effectively ending the exchange. Later, Elsa's mother chastises her for being careless, reminding her that she is responsible for caring for the elderly and that the forest trip was hazardous. Her mother wonders what is wrong with Elsa and why she is unable to recover. After all, this is not her life. She and Elsa's father have been deeply affected by Frank's death, taking numerous medications to cope. Elsa's mother claims she sees her son everywhere, but he has left, and they must move on. Elsa, being young and full of potential, should prioritize happiness. Later, the voice explains to Elsa that they do not die, but rather transition from one life to another, ending one path and beginning a new one. They want to be human, to feel and experience the present moment. Elsa maintains that living without dying is not truly living. They only want to exist. At the lake, Augustine discovers Elsa and informs her that a man on a motorcycle arrived that morning in search of his brother Jordan. That night, Elsa hears Frank's voice begging to be left alone. The voice informs her that time is running out and 2 more bodies are required. Elsa begs them to stop pressuring her, claiming she is already attempting to solve everything. Elsa's father notices her strange behavior, which she dismisses as fatigue. She remembers the homeless woman, locates her, and transports her to a restaurant. Elsa explains that she creates authentic characters for comics and hopes to make the woman one of them. Elsa becomes convinced she has made the right decision after hearing the woman's life story. She leads the woman to the tree, but her dog escapes. Elsa's last choice is Madame Lebon's husband. She takes Madame Lebon, who has already been inhabited by a being, to his house and suggests one last walk through the forest. Madame Lebon discovers her husband hanging in a noose while Elsa is exploring his home. The being informs Elsa that Madame Lebon is no longer an option. If Elsa does not find anyone, the being will return, causing her and Frank to suffer. Elsa begs them to not harm her brother. Elsa notices a young man walking his motorcycle down the road and realizes who he is. She offers to give him a ride because it is raining. He agrees and during the ride talks about looking for his reckless brother. He presumes Elsa and his brother were friends and inquires about Jordan. To avoid his questions, Elsa cranks up the music. The young man mentions that he knows Elsa is the astronaut's sister and insists that Frank could not have vanished without explanation. He compliments her sketches. He notices her nervousness and inquires about her well-being. Then he starts talking about his ambition to become a chef and open a small restaurant, even describing the name and logo he's created. When Elsa hears this, she abruptly stops the car and orders him out, leaving him bewildered. She sobs as she drives away, begging to speak with her brother. Elsa apologizes after hearing Frank's voice greeting her. She says that if she could, she would live in a dream world where he does not exist. She asks questions, but there are no answers. With only 10 minutes left, Elsa walks the path alone, just like the heroine from her comic. The drawn girl sits in a chair beside her brother, looking out at a vast planet ahead. Later, Elsa drives the homeless woman's dog in her car. They arrive at the coast and run and play along it. Elsa eventually comes to a stop and stares out at the sea. All right, that's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. It really helps the channel. Leave a comment with your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching and see you next time.